Please be seated. Let's take a moment and breathe in the beauty of this day, the joy that we gather with. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I'm the Reverend Dr. Teresa Cooley. I serve as First Unitarian Universalist Church of Columbus's developmental minister. My pronouns are she, her. I'm a medium-height woman in my early 60s with silver hair and glasses and wearing a black robe and a purple stole. We begin by recognizing that we meet on land that was forcibly taken from at least 7 native tribes. We commit ourselves to learning to be in an accountable relationship to this land and those indigenous to it. So welcome to you all on this momentous and wonderful occasion. We can do that. I give you permission to do that anytime you want. It's totally fine. So I hope that those of you physically present and those of you joining us virtually will feel the love that this community holds for Amanda and for her family, and the love with which we hold you, those who affirm her ministry. For those unfamiliar with developmental ministry, I'll explain that it is a kind of transitional ministry in which we partner together to address problematic systemic issues and help place us on a road toward being a healthy and thriving congregation. I often say that transitional ministry is a time when a congregation is cracked open. Recognizing that change is necessary can sometimes feel like a failure, but in so many ways, it is a great sign of health, a dedication to growth and learning and listening. Amanda has served this congregation in this time of cracking open, and the fact that she has chosen this as the theme of this occasion is testimony to her recognition that cracking open is necessary to healing and to transformation. So I invite you into being in this open space together as we celebrate this new ministry with these words from Rosemary Watola Tromer. Over and over, we break open. We break and we break and we open. For a while, we try to fix the vessel as if to be broken is bad. As if with glue and tape and a steady hand, we might bring things to be perfect again, as if they were ever perfect. As if to be broken is not also perfect. As if to be open is not the path toward joy. So welcome to this moment of joy.
I'm the Reverend Dr. Samantha Wilson, and I'm so pumped. Yeah! My pronouns are she, her, and I am a middle-height woman with red glasses, 2 nose piercings, and 1 missing tooth. We would now like to invite all the children and their caregivers, go as a group, go together to meet our DRE Amber Scott in the back of the room and to get ready to help light the chalice. And we need to make sure the whole family goes because you're in for a treat today. Everyone else, turn to your neighbor and get pumped. Do one more. There she is. Now let's embrace all of us, and now for our children to bring in the light. Here they come.
My name is Jim Hayes, he, him. I'm a mid-30s white guy, and I'm holding a very cute baby. We light this chalice with the warmth of love in our hearts. We light this chalice with the light of joy in our hearts. We light this chalice welcoming the flame of transformation.
Thank you, River, for helping to light our chalice. I'm the Reverend Dr. Isabel Call. I'm a minister who was ordained right here by this congregation, and I'm just so happy to be here. I'm a white, young-looking femme butterfly in my 40s with shortish blonde hair and a beautiful pink stole. I use they, them, and she, her pronouns. And I think you can tell that I'm a butterfly. And over here to my right is a very important acorn, or Amanda Hayes, white woman in her mid-30s with short, spiky hair and glasses, using she, her pronouns, and serving as your justice minister.
I'm Amber Scott, and I serve as the religious educator here. I'm a white femme millennial with long, chaotic copper hair, and my pronouns are she, they. And today, I am an egg. In a nest, no less. Today's celebration has been structured with all ages in mind. We will be storytelling and engaging in the embodied ritual and act of ordination together before allowing a break for some of our young people to head to childcare before we dive into the more heady talking and preaching. Families are welcome to choose whatever service experience works best for you. If your child would like to remain with you during the second part of the service, you're welcome to pick up a busy bag out in the gallery, to check out the quiet ideas in our We Worship area, or to check out Sloter Lounge if you need a little more room to move and still hear the service and make joyful sounds. Today's story, for all ages, begins in a forest. In the forest, there was a tree. And in the tree, there was a nest. And in the nest, there was an egg. The egg did what most eggs do. It just sat. The egg spent a lot of time thinking, and sometimes it even worried about the future. One day, while the egg was worrying, a beautiful butterfly landed in the tree right next to the nest.
Well, hello there, friend. I don't remember seeing you around, although you do look quite round yourself. How are you on this fine day?
Honestly, not great. I'm worried about how everything will be different once I hatch. My family's really supportive, but being expected to hatch and crack open when I've never done it before feels like a lot of pressure.
Wow, that sounds existential. Thank you for telling me about it. Talking to other people when you feel worried can help you feel better. Sometimes when I'm worried, I like to talk to a minister.
What's a minister? Is that like some kind of bug?
Well, a minister is someone who helps other people. Sometimes they do spiritual stuff, like leading Sunday services here at the church. Sometimes they give people advice, but mostly they just listen when other people need to feel heard.
Oh, could I be a minister?
Maybe someday. Usually, ministers go to a special school called seminary because they want to learn how to be better helpers and listeners. And even after they graduate, they still need to learn a few more things. In Unitarian Universalism, only a congregation can ordain a minister. That means that a whole church has to agree that they want someone to be a minister.
Pardon me. I just happened to overhear you two talking about ministry, and I want to introduce myself. I am Reverend Oak Tree, one of your resident ministers here in the forest.
Oh, hello.
Nice to meet you.
Egg, dear Egg, what your winged friend here is telling you is exactly right. Making a minister is a lot of work. It takes a lot of work, like growing a tree. You start with an acorn or some kind of seed, but then it takes quite a few ingredients. It needs soil, it needs rain, it needs some heat. And then just like a minister needs some learning and experience, it needs the community's support to grow. And you just can't, you cannot make a minister without love.
Sprouting sounds a lot like hatching. It sounds like a lot of changes.
Change can be tricky. I have changed quite a lot.
Oh, did you post about it on Insectagram?
Yes, I can show you some photos. I went from being an egg to a caterpillar. From a caterpillar to a chrysalis. And then from a chrysalis to a butterfly. It was pretty intimidating at first.
Intimidating. Tell me more. I wonder how you felt about that and what it was like for you being in a chrysalis and thinking about changing and then changing again and changing again after that. How was that?
Well, thank you for asking. It felt a little bit like having butterflies in my stomach. Except I didn't actually have a stomach, I was just goo. But it turns out that I did have everything I needed. The support of my loved ones, a sturdy branch to hang on, and the strength I needed inside me.
That does remind me back when I was an acorn in seminary. And I wondered if I could really crack open and grow big enough to shelter all these different creatures and all these different nests and all my branches. It would just send shivers down my pine. How are you feeling about hatching, egg?
After hearing about how much you both changed, I don't feel as worried anymore. I'm not quite ready to hatch yet, but I know it will be soon. And I'm glad to have the support I need once I'm ready.
You just need more time to cook.
You know, that's totally fine. But guess what? There is somebody nearby who's ready to hatch today. Actually, for her, it's sprouting. Does anyone know who I'm talking about? Yes? Who am I talking about? Yes, Amanda. There are a few more things Amanda needs, too, before she can sprout into a minister.
Just like my family trusted the strength of Reverend Oak Tree's branches to hold up our nest, we need to trust in Amanda's strength and give her the love, authority, support, and recognition she needs to grow into a mighty minister.
Perhaps some of you would like to help this young tree sprout? Yes. If so, come on up. Lend us your limb. Help us root for her. You can add some water, some dirt, sunshine, and most importantly, love. So come on in. There's more sunshine. River has a preference for sunshine, turning up the heat. Soil's going in. River, put that water in. Yep. Water. Tell us if it's too much, Amanda. People do that with houseplants. Yeah. Okay, are we in? Oh, more hearts, more love, more dirt. Oh, it's working.
I'm growing! I'm feeling ready to stretch my branches, but there are still a few more things I need to keep growing.
I know. I'll help.
Cindy!
Friends, now let's make some space. Thank you. Now let's make some space for more growth. Thank you, forest friends, for helping. Yes, she has. Thank you, Jim. All right. There are just a few more things that our Justice Minister Amanda Hayes needs from us in order to crack open and hatch and sprout and grow into this new chapter of her ministry. Together, we voted to make Amanda a minister, to ordain her. Next, we will say some words and give her some gifts, a stole and the title Reverend, which are symbols of her authority to fully minister to us and with us. And together, we will raise our voices in song to affirm her trust in and love for Amanda. Amanda, are you now ready to enter ordained ministry?
I am ready.
Before we go any further, good afternoon. My name is Cindy Wicker, and my pronouns are she, her. I serve at First UU's board chair, and I am a short, middle-aged woman with purple and green curly hair in a jean jacket and blue and white dress.
And I am Jim Svajerico. I use pronouns he, him. I serve as the vice chair of the Board of Trustees. I'm a white male in my early 60s, still early 60s, with gray hair, blue glasses. I'm wearing a blue suit and a white shirt.
We, the First Unitarian Universalist Church of Columbus, recognize your calling to Unitarian Universalist ministry. In particular, a gift you bring to your ministry is your even-keel manner, allowing you to make and hold space for those hard conversations that require deeper listening and understanding.
We want you to speak your truth to us in love, to listen to us in our joys and our sorrows, to be trustworthy with the authority we give you, and to challenge us in our work for more justice and compassion in our community and in our world. We now ordain you into Unitarian Universalist ministry. If you would mind remaining standing and join me in the act of ordination by repeating the following phrases out loud or in the chat. We invite all others to remain in honored witness. We affirm your ministry. We celebrate your ministry. We will support your ministry. We ordain you into ministry.
With gratitude, joy, and awe, I accept your ordination. Mindful of the immense privileges and responsibilities of ministry, I dedicate myself to the service of Unitarian Universalist faith, our common humanity, and the wider world. I know, like those who came before me and those who will come after, that I cannot do this work alone. I ask for your love and trust as I take up this ministry.
So Reverend Amanda, we have I'm going to show you your stall. It's so beautiful. We give you this stole, created by our member, Deb Baliul, and this title, Reverend, as symbols of the trust and authority we place in you by ordaining you.
Now we will sing our love and trust for Reverend Amanda in a sacred song circle led by the High Fives.
Gathered here
I ask our religious professionals to please gather around Reverend Amanda and her family as you are willing and able. Children and caregivers, please find a spot that feels good for you, which might mean getting up closer or finding some more space. And now, sorry, I'll give some moment here. Okay. And now, will everyone rise in body or spirit? And if you would like, you may gather toward the front of the worship center. All right. And we'll be singing, again, sacred song led by the high fives. Oh, wait. We're singing again. Sorry, we're going to be doing Spirit of Life. I'm sorry.
Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the land, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me. Why still and small, deep inside all, I hear you call, singing. In storm and rain, sorrow and pain, still will remain, singing, calming my fears, quenching my tears, through all the years, singing.
As we savor the reverence of this moment, this sacred singing, I invite you all to slowly make some moves to do what you need to do for the next 10 or so minutes. If you're called to do so, it's a time for caregivers to bring their children to the We Worship area or childcare or Sloter Lounge, and for all of us to settle and stretch, do what your body needs before we recenter ourselves here together. As we approach of the end of about 10 minutes, Nathan will begin to play, calling us back. Welcome back. I am the Reverend Meg McGuire. My pronouns are she and her, and I'm grateful to serve this community as an affiliated community minister. I am a white woman in my mid-30s with short blonde hair. As we settle back into this space and time together, bringing our attention back to this joyful, potent moment, I invite you to join me in a time of meditation, to tune in to the immensity of the threshold that just transpired here, and to tune in to the fullness of what preceded it, what holds it, and what will yet grow out of it. And I invite you to do whatever you need to settle into this time, perhaps adjusting your body, relaxing your posture. You might want to soften your gaze, maybe allowing your breathing in and out to deepen, or connect to the earth beneath your feet, whatever you need to do to settle into this space. We gather together as the wheel of the year continues to turn. The sun, already low in the sky, leaves ablaze, blanketing the ground, trees all but bare. Just on the heels of Samhain, cross-quarter between the fall equinox and winter solstice, marking the end of the harvest and the beginning of the coldest and darkest part of the year. A time of liminality, of honoring those who have come before us, the beloveds who have died, whose lives have shaped our own, whose lives have brought this moment into being. Reverend Amanda, shaped by this and multiple spiritual lineages, called to mind these words from the Christian scriptures, from the Gospel of John, that unless a kernel of wheat falls to the ground and dies, it remains only a single seed. But in its death, in its cracking open, it produces many seeds. And there are so many seeds scattered to the ground and cracked open that have grown into this moment. So many seeds that have grown into this minister. We hold a special place of memory today for the Reverend Colleen Squires, minister of Amanda's home congregation, beloved mentor and supporter of her ministry, who died suddenly just a week ago on October 23rd. With both grief and gratitude, we honor Reverend Colleen's life and ministry, knowing that her light will live on through Reverend Amanda and so many others. We bring our gratitude and attention to all of the beloved ancestors, familial ancestors and spiritual ancestors whose lives shaped Reverend Amanda, without whom this moment would not be as it is. Though they may not be here with us in body, they abide here with us in this crowd. May we honor them and the lineages of love of which they and we are part. Now, again in song.
I'm the Reverend Dr. Susan Ritchie, she, hers. I have light-colored hair. I'm wearing a black and white robe with a rainbow stole. I am middle-aged only if I live to be an unnaturally old age. So Amanda, I'm loving your theme of being cracked open. I'm thinking that to have faith in a seed and an egg and an acorn is to have faith in the promises we make to each other, but also in the ministry of time itself. I remember when Trump was elected in 2016, a Sikh activist by the name of Valerie Kaur was speaking before an interfaith gathering, and she asked that gathering to imagine, what if this darkness is the darkness not of the tomb, but of the womb? The difference is clear. One holds this germ of promise. One is a potential that will unfold in the fullness of time itself. That is ministry, to trust both each other and the unfolding of time itself. And so I am here to extend to you a hand of kinship. Part of this is a reminder that you do go accompanied by all who have gone before us in the past. A great cloud of witness does surround us today. So many have gone before us, and we hold especially close to our hearts today the memory of Reverend Colleen Squires, your mentor, who has already entered into the ranks of those who have passed from life, but whose legacy continues to offer all of us gifts of love and perseverance. This hand of kinship is not only of the past, though it's also of the present. It is a reminder that you are accompanied in this journey by all of us who share this calling with you. We are here to support you. You do not do this work alone. We promise that when it's time for you to step away, we will water your seedlings for you. Just don't forget to ask. And finally, this hand connects you to the future too, as we understand that the likelihood is whatever we nurture now will need to be brought to fruition by others in the fullness of time. This is what it means to enter the stream of the living tradition of our living ministry. And it is my great privilege and joy to give you a hand so that we might wade these waters together.
My heart is open, open wide, open wide to the song of the earth. Join me when you're ready. My heart is open, open wide, open wide to the song of the earth. My heart is open, open wide, open wide to the song of the earth. This time we'll sing to the ancestors' breath. My heart is open, open wide, open wide to the ancestors' breath. My heart is open, open wide, open wide to the ancestors' breath, to the spirit of love. My heart is open, open wide, open wide to the spirit of love. My heart is open, open wide, open wide to the spirit of love.
Dear Amanda, my charge for you builds on an image gift from another colleague, because truth is always in dialogue.
These words are adapted from the Reverend Karen Herring's opening story in her book, Trusting Change. The author sends her blessings to us all for this occasion. It begins so quietly you cannot hear it, and so small you can barely see it. The monarch egg is attached to the underside of a milkweed leaf is the size of a small white period. But that is misleading. This is not a sentence that has ended. Each of these periods marks a possible beginning. The monarch egg hatches into a larva born of hunger. Eating its way into the world, it devours the shell that held it and then moves on to eat the leaf beneath it. In a matter of days, the larva consumes more and more leaves, voraciously eating its way into visibility as a lengthened, wrinkled appetite, a striped caterpillar determined to grow.
You have been determined to grow. Your appetite has birthed you into visibility.
From the beginning, it is accustomed to the losses that growth tallies. 4 or 5 times the caterpillar sheds its skin like an unwanted, too small glove. Then, preparing to grow in ways that size cannot measure and skin cannot contain, the caterpillar develops a new shell under its final layer of skin. It turns upside down, practicing a radically new view and spinning from its back end a sturdy, silken clasp from which its transformation will be suspended.
Despite the costs, you persisted, growing into perspective unconstrained by former measures.
One more time, it wriggles and squirms as the skin that no longer fits splits open and the shell beneath emerges in a different shape, the chrysalis. Protected by the chrysalis, the caterpillar digests itself, releasing enzymes that break down all shape and form. Caterpillar legs, eyes, mouth, its whole caterpillar way of being. It becomes a mass of goo.
You have experienced being this mass of goo, protected by the sturdy but impermanent chrysalis.
Only a few parts of the caterpillar will not be consumed. Latent imaginal discs, a set of highly organized cells embedded from the beginning that contain everything needed for the change that lies ahead.
You know these imaginal discs. You know and have known who you are. But you have not known and still don't know what will sprout from these imaginal discs.
Imagine. The imaginal discs have been there all along, waiting, designed to awaken in this breakdown and bring new shapes to the chaos. Wing and eye and curled antenna, like reverse fossils from the future. They are coded for metamorphosis, for emergence, when all else has been dissolved and lost. Vibrating at frequencies unknown in the old caterpillar, the imaginal discs multiply rapidly. They cluster according to like resonance, communicating with each other until they grow into a shared knowledge of how to be something new. All have molted the identity of caterpillar. One cluster becomes an eye, another a wing, another a leg, each tailored to a butterfly's ways, to the butterfly's needs. They take on shapes and functions while linking to one another, their own development dependent on the others, and in that interdependence, they become whole. They become one, a new organism unlike anything that preceded it, ready to emerge, orange and black to ward off attack, fantastically designed for flight and migration across multiple generations, for survival across distance and season.
You are molting today. You no longer need the chrysalis for protection. You have wings. Your ministry will fly across generations, seasons, and distance. I charge you to trust your wings.
In the chaos of great change, imaginal possibilities are waiting to awaken in you, in us, and in the world.
In the chaos of this historical moment, the imaginal possibilities of your ministry are now awake. The movement will be unfamiliar, and you will wish you had roots, like a tree. And you do, my dear. You are a tree. You are rooted in place, in season, in family. You need no fresh charge to know and live your tree vocation, to keep growing up and out of your cracked open acorn, to spread ever wider your already profoundly spacious, listening, loving branches. You are caring, thoughtful, mindful. You are attentive to detail and big picture. You are imaginative, creative. You are accountable. You've charged yourself already with these essential elements of ministry, and these roots will always hold you. My charge to you today, butterfly to butterfly, is a reflection back to you of your voracious appetite to be and to create that which is not rooted, to be and to source from that which is powerful, free, and fearless. Your ministry is so much more than your job, so much more than your role, your efforts, even more than your beautiful voice. Your ministry is more than how you're received. We call you now the Reverend Amanda, not because we've reviewed you favorably, but because we behold your ministry with reverence. We behold your ministry with reverence, Reverend Amanda. For it shall span generations. It shall outlive you. We will revere you. We do revere you because you move us. You show us how to move safely and boldly. Show us, show yourself the moves of the migratory transgenerational dance that is only now, even just today, coming alive consciously for you, but has always been possible. We don't know what's coming next, but I charge you to fly, Reverend Amanda. You don't have to try, just fly.
Tree to oak tree. Oh, God. That moment when you're like, I'm a great minister, but I don't know how to work this. I just don't know how to work this. Thank you, God. Thank you. Nope, no. What about that? Does that work? Yeah, it's good. Okay. Takes a village. Thank you. Suzanne Simmerd, the now famous forest ecologist. You're nodding. Yep, you read the book. She grew up in a logging community in Canada. And in her 20s, her seasonal job was to mark trees for cutting and assess saplings that had been planted after large areas had been cut. But she was shocked how often all these trees were sick. The trees, for the purposes of growing many of them, were spaced out, separated, lined up, and why? On the basis of an assumption that living beings are individuals that exist in competition with one another. Now, what we all know is the opposite. When you grow a tree from the lens of competition, you grow tall, all but weak, disease-prone trees. And then the children, the saplings that come after them with that soil left over are even worse. But a seed does not break open because it dreams of domination. Every tree wants to make a forest. These are the words of economist and nonviolent activist Mickey Cashtan. Every tree wants to make a forest. We do this with humans. Shape, form, cultivate humans with the lens of competition, consumption, and extraction. And you get a few tall, perhaps entertaining, seasonally salvific, briefly charismatic, but ultimately weak, disease-prone humans. And in the world we are facing now, we got too much of that and we ain't got time for that. Seeds break open because they are in the connected embrace of another's darkness. The unconditional warmth of another sun, the flow of water from another sky. When saplings grow, they're not kept small by someone else's shade. They are held in the embrace of another's protection. They gather strength because other beings are willing to be strong beside them. And when the old trees die, they don't hold themselves back in preservation. Instead, they let themselves fall like leaves, releasing all they can to all those they can before they are gone, the original legacy giving. Why? Because every tree wants to make a forest. And when a mother tree falls, one of those sacred hubs of life, information, resources, and stories, she is generations in the making, extending outward above ground, just like a mirror below it, one expansion made possible by the others. She is the shape of a rooted butterfly. Let's just take the metaphor all the damn way. She is a shape of a rooted butterfly whose great metamorphosis happens at the end. Because every tree wants to make a forest. Now, congregations in this charge, we are not for extraction and consumption. We don't come here to get as much as we can out of each other, protect ourselves from each other, space ourselves out from each other, protect ourselves, or we will create tall, weak, disease-prone trees. Congregational life is about something messier. It's messing with our faulty assumptions, expanding our capacities, widening our roots, extending our branches, moving the resources, risking wild, silly, dangerous, Zoom-based experiments, and deepening our relatedness. Now, 2 years ago, you were the first ever Hope for Us conflict engagement congregation ever. You took a risk and invested in a program that had zero history of success. In fact, it had zero history whatsoever. This was a risky experiment in moving your resources. You expanding our capacities, deepening our relationships. You deepened me. There were plenty of reasons not to trust it. Do you remember? At one of our closing events together, your staff team, this community, invited the congregation to imagine, and imagination felt hard then, but to imagine a future scenario someday in which the next act of ordination would be unabashedly collaborative, playful, and creative. We are still wearing our costumes. Now, I know you are not done with your healing. Blah, blah, blah. I know it takes time. I know everything's not fixed or sturdy. I know we're not confident, but I don't think forests feel that way. Maybe the brilliance of the forest is they're committing to what's messy, composty, vulnerable interdependence where we become less afraid, but more resilient. So here's what I know. This ain't no small congregation. You're a big congregation, and you are here to grow a forest. May it be grown. Now, in that Grow a Forest spirit, Reverend Amanda invited me to combine my celebration of you with the offering. Our offering today will be split between two recipients, the Living Tradition Fund and Black Lives of Unitarian Universalism, or BLUE. Both of these recipients represent the possibility of transformed Unitarian Universalism, one that widens our capacity to sustain all life. The Living Tradition Fund is a fund for ministers and their families when they are facing life's unexpected circumstances. It is a fund that recognizes the economic uncertainty of ministry. Would you believe that? Economically uncertain. And it sustains ministers facing student loan debt, healthcare crises, and natural disasters. When I was in seminary, a financial aid advisor began her workshop by saying, "You may be called, but it is a collect call." Now, not only is ministry expensive to invest in, but not all places of ministry can provide ministers the support or security they would need to be fully alive in a world that needs their ministry. I personally have received support from this fund 2 times in my life. The second time happened 2 months ago. I am an independent contractor, doggedly committed to conflict resolution and Unitarian Universalism. Give it up. I see you, Teresa. It means I am self-employed. I do not have medical leave or premium insurance, and 1 month ago my e-bike malfunctioned and threw me headfirst into a road. After being in the ER and visiting specialists, I realized that I was in the long haul for dental work. I would face initially several $1,000s in bills. So I emailed the Fund for the Living Tradition. I described what I was facing, and 2 weeks later, I received a check in the mail for half the bill amount. When you give to this fund, you are sending, I want you to picture that, all the ministers, bless us, going to their mailboxes at one of the hardest times they might be facing and opening up a check that was because of people they didn't even know who believe in a Unitarian Universalism that is bigger than any of us could have dreamed of. Black Lives of Unitarian Universalism, or BLUE, is similar. It's imagining a wildly rich, expansive, inclusive, transformative Unitarian Universalism that sustains, nourishes, and supports Black people. It builds Black theologies shaped by Black experience, and it is committed to sacred spaces and building capacity for justice making that liberates all of us. Both of these funds ask us to sustain life and let the resources flow. May it be so, and may we grow a forest together. The offering will be received.
Somebody calling, somebody calling, somebody calling my name. Somebody calling, somebody calling, somebody calling my name. Hush, hush, somebody calling my name. Hush, hush, somebody calling my name. Oh Lordy, hush, hush, somebody calling my name. Oh my Lord, what shall I do? Now, if I could preach like Peter, somebody calling my name. Oh, if I could preach like Peter, somebody calling my name. Oh, Lordy, if I could preach like Peter, somebody calling my name. Oh, my Lord, what shall I do? Oh, hush, hush. Somebody calling my name. Oh, hush, hush. Somebody calling my name. Oh, Lordy, hush, hush. Somebody calling my name. Oh, my Lord, what shall I do? Now, if I could teach like Paul, somebody calling my name. Oh, if I could preach like Paul, somebody calling my name. Oh, Lord, if I could teach like Paul, somebody calling my name. Oh, my Lord, what shall I do? Hush, hush. Somebody calling my name. Oh, Lordy, hush, hush. Somebody calling my name. Oh, Lord, hush, hush. Somebody calling my name. Oh, my Lord, what shall I do? One more time. Here we go now. Oh, hush, hush. Somebody calling my name. Oh, hush, hush. Somebody calling my name. Oh, Lordy, hush, hush. Somebody calling my name. Oh, my Lord, what shall I do?
Woo! Oh, yeah, I can hand you that. When freedom calls us by name, when justice calls us by name, when the world as we have known it and our hearts are cracking, may we open to the call. May we sprout, hatch, and grow. May we break out of the chrysalises that once held us in our vulnerability, for now those chrysalises confine our newly grown wings. May we crack open, overflowing with love, and now let us extinguish our chalice together, saying these words together. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of vision. As we go forth, let us heal and transform ourselves and our world through reason and love. Amen, and blessed be. And now, if you would remain either standing or risen in spirit with us, we will sing our closing hymn, Rising Green.